So what we got today is a 2018 Honda Accord 1.5 turbo. What we're going to be doing is replacing the fuel injectors. There seems to be a common issue on the 1.5s, or maybe even the newer Hondas in general, with this direct injection gas system. So I did not diagnose this car. The dealer did. The car was brought to me to do the job at a lower rate. So let's go ahead and look at the vehicle real quick. This is the Accord, it's the 18, it's the 1.5 turbo. And the fuel injectors are located at the back of the engine under the intake manifold. So you can just kind of get an idea of some of the things are going to have to be removed to get to it. So here's an exploded view of the back of the engine. This is with the intake manifold off, which would bolt here. You can see where the injectors go. All right, and that's the fuel rail. So we've got to get all that stuff out of the way to get to the injectors. Now let's look at the parts. Every time I do a video, you guys are always, what's the part numbers? So, all right, this is the part number on the injectors. They come from Honda, they come as a set of 4, which is a good idea. If you got 1 or 2 bad, go ahead and change all of them. That's the part number on the injectors, okay? They come with a set of 4 and the clips. Okay, we've got a set of 4 spark plugs. So it's just a good idea if this car had a rich condition. So we're going to change the plugs while we're at it. Okay, there it is. Maybe the focus. 12290-6A0-A01. 4 spark plugs. We got intake manifold gaskets. I originally ordered 1 thinking they come as a set. They do not. So you have to order 4. This is the part number 17105-5AA-004. Picked up the throttle body gasket. Not sure if I need it, but got them as well. 17107-5AA-004. Okay. Last thing we need, according to the Honda and the service information, anytime you take off the fuel rail or disconnect that type of stuff, you want to change this line as well. So this is this one, and it goes, I think, from the rail to maybe the pump. I'm not sure. Where's the part number on this one? Okay, the part number on that one, 16012-5PA-315, and that should be everything we need. If your car is low mileage and not an older car, you can probably get away without doing the intake manifold gasket, throttle body gasket. If we need it, I don't know if we need it, but they're cheap, like $4 a piece. Might as well get them. I bought all the stuff online from a reputable Honda dealer online and saved a lot of money from buying it from my local dealer, which I hate to say that, but I'd rather support local, but it is what it is. You know, saved several hundreds of dollars. Okay, so the first thing we gotta do is relieve the fuel pressure on this system. It is a high pressure system. So we're gonna follow the factory service information. First thing they recommend is take the factory fuel filter out of the trunk. This is a capless system. Put it there. Fill the fuel injector relay. Fuel pump relay, ignition relay, main relay, I'm not really sure. Should be this top one. BGM FI relay 2. It's gonna be this top one. Okay, I'm gonna pull that real quick, and then we're gonna run the car until it cuts out. Okay, relay is out. Just grab some pliers, pull it out. Start the vehicle. Okay, that's it. Okay, so here's our intake manifold, which has to come off. The throttle body here. We'll have to take that off as well. I'm going to try to retain, unbolt it from the throttle body, but maybe we're going to try to just kind of let it dangle over there to the side. That way we don't really have to disconnect any of the associated things with that. There's probably some coolant lines going to it. So first thing we've got to do is remove this bracket. So it attaches here, and it attaches to the intake manifold. You can see around here. Let's get that out of the way first, and then we'll tackle getting the throttle body off of the intake manifold. Also, I forgot to mention, disconnect the negative on your battery before you start. I mean, after you relieve the pressure, but before you start tearing into stuff. It's a good habit. Okay, that's out of the way. Move this insulator too while we at it. Okay, so now we need to get to the throttle body. So start removing a few connectors and clips. Let's see here. Hopefully you can see. So there's one clamp holding the intake piping to the throttle body. Then there's should be 4 these 10mm bolts holding the throttle body to the intake manifold. So we're going to remove those now. Okay, so I've disconnected the clamp holding the intake piping to the throttle body. So now I need to free up a little bit of wiggle room to be able to pull this out. So there's a bolt here holding up these heater, looks like a heater hose bracket to this piping, and then over here, probably can't see below here. Let me see. You can see down in here, there's 2 bolts attaching this pipe to the head or block or whatever. So I'm gonna try and maybe get those out again, just so I can free up some wiggle room here to be able to pull this piping away from the throttle body to be able to get that out. There we go. Hopefully now you can see that we've got, as you can see, but the boot there is free from the throttle body. All right. Next up, getting the throttle body off of the intake manifold. Again, 10mm bolts. You know what? I'm gonna pull the battery real quick to get me more room here. So. Okay, freed up a little bit of space there. All right. Okay, so throttle body's disconnected. We're gonna leave it here since it's got some coolant lines and stuff going to it, but it is out of the way. Okay, so next step is throttle body. So any of this associated stuff is going to have to come off of it. Connectors and vacuum lines and whatnot. Just unbolt that whole bracket there. Yep. Come up here, just because I want to. Ah, crap. Well, anyway, that's how that comes out. So, it's probably a return fuel line here. Yep. Luckily, we got our pressure relieved. Okay, now we should be ready to pull the intake manifold off. So, as you can note, there's 1, 2, 3 bolts visible from the top. And I'm pretty sure, well, I know there's going to be bolts on the bottom. There is like a foam, I'll call it an insulator, which kind of wraps around the bottom, so we're going to pull that off. Okay. So it's just held in by some clips. Okay. All right. So the same kind of deal that was around that bracket earlier. Okay, so yep. So you can see right here, there's a bolt on the bottom side here, and a bolt on the bottom side over there. So I'm thinking there's just 5 bolts holding this together. Should be about ready to come on out of here now. They don't make them like they used to, do they? So now we can see we got the intake off. Here's our fuel rail. Each injector sits down in there. I'm pretty sure that is that one line that we're gonna have to change out as well. But first thing, we need to get this, it's like a heat shield or something. You can see it below this solenoid. A heat shield right here. It's got, looks like it's just got 2 bolts, 2 10mm holding that on. So let's pull that off real quick. Long bolt. We're gonna get this line right here cracked loose. We'll go ahead and start pulling these bolts, see if we can get the fuel rail out. All right. It's 19mm. Looking at it the wrong way, so I'm gonna have to. There we go. Oh, it was a lot looser than I thought it was gonna be. All right. Okay, now the other side of that, I'm not gonna show you because it's where you're at. You might can see it, I don't know. Anyway, really easy to get to. So here's this line we got to replace. And that was the one that was connected to the end of the fuel rail. So, went right here into our pump. So we got, there was one retaining bolt holding it to the head. And then this insulator here. So, bolt was a little aggravating to get to, but it is what it is. Alright, last step. Go ahead and pull this fuel rail. if I can get this connector off the end here. Okay, there we go. Looks like I see what I was doing. It was a lot easier. Because I'm thinking that might have been dragging us a little bit, but okay. Just got the rail out. So now we gotta get the injectors out of the head. So if you can see what we got here, there's 1, 2, 3. There's one right here up under the solenoid. And so I'll try and get these guys out of here. Okay. Okay, so we have our old injectors out. Let's take a look at our new ones and make sure they're the same. And it may be a different manufacturer or something they switched, but thing looks the same. Okay, we're gonna put just a dab of engine oil on this top O-ring. They don't want you putting anything on this Teflon seal on the bottom, so just note that. So for now we'll leave the cover on. Okay, so that's in there. And these came with a brand new set of clips. Okay. Figure out how these go on because they fell off of the old injectors. Okay, so I guess once we tighten these down, these will compress a little bit, I'm assuming. Okay, so there we go. Got all 4 installed. I feel like that's about as deep as they're gonna go, but then they should compress once we tighten them down. So the rail bolts are 9 foot-pounds. The intake manifold bolts are 18. Okay. Alright, now we're going to slowly tighten these up. Hopefully to get them to seat. Kind of jump around, start in the middle. And just slowly kind of run them in. Don't want to force anything. Now let's get all of our electrical connectors. Okay. Okay, now we'll get this one on the end here. Got to pull these, switch these gaskets out. So all you do is just yank them out, put your new one in. Make sure everything's nice and clean. So that's basically all there is to it. And you got this tab that indexes them. So like I said, these are still pretty you know, not really flattened out yet, so It would have probably still been fine to reuse them, but if you're already in here and it ain't but it's not but a few more dollars, I'm gonna go ahead and switch them out so we don't have any issues. Okay, let's pull it back on the car. Just gotta take our insulator off the old one and pop it onto this one. Okay. Your line's on, snug down, retaining bolt is in. Now, it's time for intake manifold to go back in. So as you're placing this, make sure none of your sealing O-rings move around or anything. Okay. That's on. Get a few nuts started. And it's 18 pounds on these. I'm gonna start them with an electric ratchet. And we'll come back and torque them down. Then start hooking everything back up. Of course, these don't need to be tight, just secure. Okay, just that. Okay, now we got this fuel line here. Let's put our insulator back in. That goes on the bottom. Okay. We'll put this bracket back on to remember how exactly it went. So next thing I'm going to do to put the throttle body back in. Throttle body's bolted down. We've got to get this intake piping bolted to it. Pick up our electrical connector for our throttle body, which is back here. Okay. Let's see. So this probably goes there. So I need to wrap this under here. Put that up there. Okay. Oh, that's right. There's that bracket goes there too. So our bracket that goes here, and we got this insulator as well. Trying to figure out which way it goes exactly. Let's go the other way. There we go. Put a bracket on. Alright, just get everything a once over. Gotta this one up. Okay. So that's pretty much it. Last thing to do, we're gonna throw my battery back in. We're gonna throw in the main relay here and start it up, see what it does, check for any leaks. All right, so just like that, car's running. I got some dirt on here. It's just like that, car's running smooth. Took a few seconds to crank up, let the system prime, running really nice and smooth, a little smoother than it was. Car did have a misfire, a little skip, especially on startup. Wouldn't be as bad once it warmed up. The startup was noticeable, and don't seem to have that problem right now. Thoroughly checked for any leaks. Don't have anything. I took a flashlight and a mirror. We got behind the intake manifold down there to make sure nothing wasn't dripping from any injectors. Make sure we checked that line that we replaced. All that's good and dry. I wanted to check before I got completely done with the job. I want to check this out. Next time I'm going to do, I'm going to pull it apart, change the spark plugs. I'm not going to show you that. There's nothing to it. Pull the coil plugs out, change the plugs out, check the gap on them, put them in, and a little anesthesia on the thread. Nothing to it. After that, we're going to take the car for a test drive, but everything seems good. The book calls are about 3 hours on this job. It took me about 4, just because I was taking my time. I've never done this particular job on this car before, and I was filming, so that always adds a considerable amount of time to that. Other than that, really no specialty tools, other than a torque wrench is nice to have. Everything else is pretty well standard hand tools. These parts were actually, the injectors really surprised me. I figured, especially being OEM and a whole set, I thought they would be really expensive. They weren't. I think the set was maybe around $350 for all 4 injectors. I bought stuff online, so I got it cheaper than the local dealer. I want to say with that, I hate to say, with all the gaskets, injectors, spark plugs, the fuel line, the whole shebang, I want to say we came out between $600 and $700, which I don't think is too bad considering we're using all OEM parts. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I know this is a common, I ain't gonna say how common, but when this car was developing this issue, we started doing some digging around. It seemed like a lot of other people had this issue. I guess I don't know if it's just a with these newer Hondas with the the direct injection, or if it's just a specifically 1.5 related. I'm not sure, but I want to throw this out here. I didn't see any videos on it, so I just want to say, this is something you can do at home, so long as you just take the proper precautions and have a little bit of knowledge and some hand tools. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you got anything to add, any comments, questions, let me know. I'll be sure to get back to you the best I can. And we'll see you on the next one. Got some more projects coming up here shortly, so just check back in with us. Got some paint stuff, bodywork paint stuff, and gonna be diving in this hatchback again sometimes. K-swap turbo car. I just taking a little break on it. I get a little burnout, so been having the itch to do some painting lately. So I've been doing a lot of painting and bodywork, so I'm gonna try to video some of that stuff coming up here shortly. But yeah, appreciate it, and check back with us.